Hey peeps, Erik Galaxy here. So on this episode, I got my take on this whole Jets debacle. I got a U.S. Open wrap up, and the usual shorts. But first, this whole chicken wing thing has kind of taken off. As I said last episode, there's no such thing as boneless wings. They're glorified chicken nuggets is what they are. Put the fancy sauce on them, doesn't matter. They're still not wings. They're glorified nuggets. But someone came to me and said, hey, what about wings? When you order wings, like you get like a, go to a place and they give you like 5 wings for $5 or whatever. You're not really getting 5 wings for $5. What you're getting is 2.5 wings because wings come in 2 sections. You got the chip part and then you got the other meaty part, right? And so that's a wing. The 2 parts is a wing. So when you're getting wings, you're actually getting half a wing. So I remember when I was a kid growing up, and my mom would cook up the chicken, and this was before buffalo wings were even known. And my mom would cook the chicken up, and you got the 2 thighs and the 2 legs and 1 breast, which is split in half. And then you get the 2 wings. And nobody wanted to eat the wings because there's no meat on them. It's like, who wants a wing? And the wings were always like the last thing that anybody would eat, only if you were totally starving. But yeah, when you buy wings, and they say you get 5 for $1 or 5 for whatever it is, you're actually only getting half of what they're saying you're getting because wings do come in 2 parts. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so the U.S. Open wrapped up last week. I'll confess that I don't really tune in to too many of the matches until it gets to the quarterfinals, semifinals. I only got so many hours in the day, right? I haven't been this excited for the whole tournament for a long time. Like I said before, I come from the John McEnroe, Jimmy Connors, Chris Everett, Boris Becker, Bjorn Borg days. But I haven't been this excited for quite some years now. And yeah, it was very entertaining. The U.S. Men did really good. Speaking of which, last time I alluded that there were 3 men in the quarterfinals. Well, there were 3 U.S. men because 3 men, there has to be 8 in the quarterfinals, right? So, but other than that, you got that Ben Shelton guy. What's his name? Francis Tiafoe. Taylor Fritz, and some other guy, Paul and Corda, something like that. But you got some really good tennis players coming up. So it was pretty interesting to see that all happen and come together. I watched all of the women's final because basically there wasn't any football on at the time, so it was easy to do. I watched some of the men's final, but because there was a lot of football being played that day, so I kind of had to switch back and forth. But the women's final was that was pretty cool. I mean, Coco Gauff, you go USA, right? It was kind of interesting at the end because you had the interviews afterwards, and you had what's her name, Arina Sabalenka was kind of laughing, crying at the same time. It was kind of weird. And she said something about, how the fans were against me or whatever. and Mary Jo Fernandez, being the interviewer, played it off, pretty good. She's all, well, you were going up against a U.S. person in the U.S. at the U.S. Open, so go figure on that one. So she kind of played that off pretty good. The one really kind of interesting thing that Arina Sabalenka said that caught me was, she said, well, as she's laughing, crying, well, all my trainers are going to be fired. I thought, wow, that's kind of like, I don't know, it's like, is she joking around or is she not joking around? I mean, she's from Belarus. Things aren't going so great over there right now, so maybe, who knows what being fired means. I'm just going to leave it at that. Speaking of leaving it at that, another funny thing was Chris Everett talking, and they panned to a picture of Coco on the phone talking to somebody, smiling, laughing. And Chris Everett's all, oh, she must be on the, something like, she must be on the phone. Does she have a boyfriend? And her announcer buddy's like, yeah, we're not getting Chris Evans. Oh yeah, well, I'm not gonna go, not going there. And I thought it was kind of funny because like, wow, you just kind of like went right there. Does she have a boyfriend? So that was kind of interesting. So yeah, it was, I had cocoa tears. Yeah, I was like, I was choked up. And the men's final was, you know, you got the two guys, you know, Medvedev and Djokovic playing. You kind of sense that they're kind of buddies, I guess, off the court. That was, you know, but the big takeaway from that is Djokovic ain't going nowhere. If everybody thought he was washed up and he was done and yada, he wasn't going to reach, you know, 24 or whatever, well, that's all over with. And I think he's pretty much got, like, you know, I mean, couple more left in him if he does, you know, if things break his way, because you got now Carlos Alcaraz, who's, like I said before, is pretty good, but hey, you know, Djokovic is still hanging in there, so don't count him out yet. Another weird thing, oh, speaking of which, Carlos Alcaraz, I was looking some stuff up on him, and for some reason they list him on the thing as Alcaraz Garcia, Garfia. So I didn't know if that was a misprint and it's actually Garcia, but it's Garfia. So, and why is it even Garfia at all? So I couldn't understand that thing. That was pretty interesting. Maybe somebody can enlighten me on that, why his last name is not Alcaraz, it's actually Garfia. But yeah, US Open, it was a good one. Looking forward to next year with all these upcoming US people. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Go USA! So Kim Mulkey is now the highest paid NCAA women's basketball coach. Got me to thinking. Is this going to be like the NFL quarterback situation where you got one guy gets paid, then the next guy gets paid higher, and this guy gets paid higher, and it keeps on going and going and going up? Because there are coaches in the NCAA women's basketball that have more or the same amount of national titles that Kim Mulkey has. So are they going to get paid? Are they next in line? And then people start talking about how, oh, LSU is a new dynasty. I'm sorry, but one national championship does not make a dynasty. Now, maybe they'll have more. I don't know, but let's, you know, slow the roll a little bit here. They're even calling them, oh, the newest dynasty since South Carolina. South Carolina has 2 national championships in 6 years, so they're not like really a dynasty either. I mean, when you get to, you want to talk about dynasties? UConn has 11, and Tennessee has 8. Those are dynasties. And in third place is Stanford, who's still around as far as I know. They got 3. So it's not really the dynasty so much of LSU as it's the dynasty of Kim Mulkey, because she's the one that has 3, 2 at Baylor and 1 at LSU. So if there's any dynasty there, I guess you could call it the dynasty of Kim Mulkey, but then you might as well call it the dynasty of, you know, Tara Vanderveer, or the dynasty of Gino Auriemma. I always get that name mixed up. So yeah, slow your roll. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who gets paid next, because Gino's got 11. So this whole Pac-12 thing just keeps getting more interesting. Apparently, Oregon State and Washington State have decided to team up and take control of the Pac-12. Apparently, they filed some kind of lawsuit or something about an injunction to keep the board of directors from meeting to basically divide up the $42 million that the Pac-12, I believe, have in their television deal, bank account or whatever. And Oregon State and Washington State are basically saying, hey, all you other guys, you schmucks, you're out of here. So we're taking over, and we want that money. Now, maybe there's more to it. Maybe they want to save the Pac-12 genuinely, and I don't know how that would happen, where that's going. But there is $42 million at stake right now. So, and what happens is if the board decides to dissolve the league, then all that money gets split up amongst all of the Pac-12 members, current Pac-12 members. And Oregon State and Washington State are saying, you guys have left. You guys are leaving, us high and dry, and you're going to, what, take the money too? So that's going to be kind of interesting to see how that all plays out. Is it a money grab? Or is it a genuine, like, hey, we want to save the Pac-12 type of thing? We'll see. Interestingly enough, the Pac-12 currently has 8 teams ranked in the top 25. Now, of course, that's going to change because, they play each other, so somebody will knock somebody off or somebody down or whatever, and that will change, which has always been my contention about the Pac-12 not getting the respect that it deserved as far as football is concerned. Anyways, that was because all the teams were basically pretty equal at one time or another, so anybody could beat anybody at any time, and that's what happened. All of a sudden you have, this team just knocked off that team, and that team just knocked off that team, and so so that was the whole, I think the problem with the Pac-12 was that teams were constantly knocking each other out to the benefit of all the other conferences. I didn't talk a whole lot about the whole Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets coupling this past preseason. Because pretty much everybody was already doing it for me ad nauseum, and I'm more of a wait and see kind of guy. But yeah, this is kind of a Shakespearean poetic tragedy in a sense of the saga of the New York Jets. Remember Brett Favre? 39 years old, Green Bay quarterback, going to lead the Jets to the promised land. They didn't even make the playoffs. And then, ironically, he led the Minnesota Vikings to the playoffs and the NFC Championship game the next year. Enter A-Rod, 39 years old, Green Bay Packer quarterback, going to lead the Jets to the promised land. I think that Aaron's going to come back and rehab and try to get back better next year. I think he's kind of that kind of driven person, but we'll see. He is 39 years old, and he did say at one point that he thought about quitting football when he was in that ayahuasca tent or whatever it was. So we'll see what happens with that. But for now, so that means what? That means Zach Wilson is the quarterback of the New York Jets for now. For now. I hear a whole lot of talk about people saying, oh, we're going to bring in somebody to supplant him as the #1 quarterback. Names being bandied around are Kyler Murray, Matt Stafford, the whole Tom Brady thing. That's just nuts. Now I heard there's talk about Jacoby Brissett being on the trade block. I don't know why you would do that. Zach's been there. He knows the system. He knows it better than anybody you can bring in. So why would you subject yourself to that? Not only because this year, but what's going to happen next year when Aaron Rodgers is still in the quarterback room? Are you going to bring Matt Stafford, Kyler Murray into a quarterback room and Aaron Rodgers is still there? How's that going to work out for you? So it's just a one-year contract deal. There's all kinds of stuff going on there, but I think that the Jets should probably stay with Zach. I know a lot of people, well, he should have been gone a long time ago. He sucks. Well, you know what? He's had a year behind, well, not a year, but a preseason behind Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is still going to be there. Aaron Rodgers is still going to be holding a clipboard and whispering sweet nothings into Zach's ear to get him going. So don't count them out. I mean, they've got a great running game. They've got a great receiving core. They got an awesome defense that, if they live up to the hype of their own hype, equating themselves with the Legion of Boom and the 85 Bears and, all those Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baltimore Ravens. You know what? All those teams had? Average quarterbacks. They didn't have any world beaters. All those quarterbacks, maybe Russell Wilson might sneak into the Hall of Fame, but out of the side of that, Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer, even Jim McMahon, they were all average. So it could happen if you keep on playing like that. So I wouldn't count them out just quite yet. Super Bowl, maybe that's a little bit far off, but I definitely think they can make the playoffs this year behind the lineup that they have right now. So, but we'll see. So the Mexico City Marathon was run a few weeks ago, and apparently 11,000 people were disqualified because they either took shortcuts or some even took like transportation, cars, buses, I don't know, motorcycles, planes, oh my. But yeah, my first thought is 11,000 people were disqualified. How many people are in this marathon? I mean, I don't know how many the Boston Marathon has every year, but it seems to me that 11,000 that were disqualified is an awful lot. What does that say about, I don't know, Mexico City? You really gotta love, if you're in social media, the Patrick Mahomes tweet after Aaron Rodgers got hurt, where he posted, "Hate that man," which got like 21,000 likes at the time. But then later on he posted, "Oh, sorry, forgot the comma. I meant to say, hate that man," which conversely only got 10,000 likes. One of the really cool things about the Jets-Bills game was the Garrett Wilson catch in the end zone. I mean, that even the announcers like, that's going to be the best catch of the year. And I find it hard to argue with him because I can't see anybody doing any better than that. I mean, I've seen all kinds of, amazing catches in the end zone and whatnot. And even nowadays, the one-handed catch is a big deal. I think it's kind of like not as big a deal as it used to be when Odell Beckham Jr. was doing it way back when. I'm pretty sure you're probably going to see a whole lot of kids practicing their one-handed catches in the backyard, right? Much like kids practice their three-point shots now. It's going to be a thing. And apparently we're finding out that it's not as hard as you thought it was. But keeping a defender from intercepting the ball by reaching your hand out and then tapping it to yourself as you catch it falling to the ground, that's what they're going to be practicing now. That's it. My favorite commercial right now? Hulu has live sports with Jalen Hurts. This is genius. Pure genius. How they take his jersey name and they expand it so it's HU and then TS on the end. Who thought about that? Give that guy a raise. That's an awesome commercial. I love that commercial. Cracks me up every time. Alright, so here's the part where I'm supposed to ask you to subscribe and like. Yes, subscribe please. I'm like a lot of you where I don't really want to answer that questionnaire at the end of the interview or the phone, whatever. But yeah, and hashtag Jim Plunkett Hall of Fame.